Today is Emancipation Day. 19 boats set ablaze, and Exxon targets more wells. Hi, I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Today is Emancipation Day. This day marks the anniversary of the British Parliament's signing of the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, which abolished slavery throughout the British Empire, with the exceptions of the territories in possession of the East India Company and the island of Ceylon, as well as the island of St. Helena. These exceptions were eliminated 10 years later. The act, although came into force on the 1st of August 1834, the following year after the signing of the act. However, the legislation only freed slaves under the age of 6. Enslaved individuals older than 6 were designated as apprentices and required to work 40 hours per week without pay as part of their compensation payment to their former owners. But this plan was cut short because Africans basically got tired and kept fighting against it for the next several years. Full emancipation was finally achieved at midnight on the 31st of July, 1838. Interestingly enough, the British Crown didn't actually free the Africans. Rather, they borrowed millions of pounds from the Rothschild family to basically buy the people from the slave captors for £20 million sterling, a debt every British taxpayer was paying until 2015. Oh my. Meanwhile, our president has taken the day to reiterate that the Guyanese government is committed to reparations for the crime of African enslavement and demands that those who profited from it pay just reparations. He also called for tribute to those who endured hardships and for celebration of the contributions of Africans in shaping Guyana. Early this morning, 19 boats caught fire at the Vreed-en-Hoop stelling, with 13 of them being completely destroyed and 6 slightly damaged. The fire started from the rear end of one vessel and quickly spread to other nearby vessels on the southern side of the river. The cause of the fire is undetermined and under investigation by the fire service. So far, the night watchman for the stelling is currently in police custody. Vehicle smuggling remains a challenge for the GRA, with illegal vehicles entering the nation through our porous borders. The GRA is working to lessen smuggling, which is especially prevalent in Lettland. But Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia noted that vehicles not using legal border crossings are harder to track. The Lettland border was identified as a major challenge, with many all-terrain vehicles entering without legal crossings. Over the weekend, an outing at the creek turned to a tragedy. 17-year-old Miles David Monroe drowned while he was out with colleagues from Qualfon at a creek along the Linden-Soestdijk Highway. Despite efforts to resuscitate him, he was pronounced dead at the Diamond Regional Hospital. Georgetown resident Caldwell Jackson was sentenced to 4 years in prison and fined $844,200 for trafficking 938 grams of cannabis. He was found guilty of the charge and was arrested by Canoe in May of last year, meaning that he's basically spent the past year on remand for the crime. Guyana is upgrading its custodial and correctional facilities. 3 facilities at the Lusignan prison have been completed, accommodating 680 inmates, with 3 more to be completed soon. The aim is to centralize the prison at Lusignan for better supervision and control, with a focus on modernizing and improving conditions for female inmates. Phase 1 works at the Mazaruni prison are completed, with 220 inmates currently housed, and Phase 2 expected to be completed by December to accommodate another 200 inmates. Meanwhile, construction at the New Amsterdam prison is expected to start by year's end.
Attention truck owners! Between potholes, bad drivers, and high fuel prices, you've got 99 problems to deal with. But with Powered Automotive, your engine ain't one. That's because they stock high-quality parts and spares you need at prices you can't beat. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles, or call or WhatsApp them at telephone number 6970171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana.
Tired of waiting on hold, tracking down a delivery driver, or carrying cash for your food orders? GT Eat is here to make your life easier. Guyana's first cashless food ordering and delivery app. Choose from Georgetown's top restaurants, pay securely with your card, and get your food delivered right to your doorstep. With the convenience of being able to order from your phone and the added feature of tracking your order, GT Eats is the ultimate solution for all your food needs. Download the app on Apple and Android stores and start ordering the easy way today.
25-year-old Vanessa Emanuel was remanded yesterday for the fatal stabbing of a minibus driver known as Orlando at the Linden Minibus Park in Georgetown on July the 27th. Emanuel fled the scene but was later apprehended by the police, who recovered the murder weapon from a nearby drain. Just one day after returning to her place of birth, a US-based Guyanese nurse was robbed at gunpoint of her cash and jewelry by two armed men. The incident occurred at Edinburgh East Bank, Berbice, and the victim was robbed of $275,000, Guyanese dollars, by the way, and a gold chain. The men reportedly gained entry to the building through an open back door and escaped on foot. The police are currently on the hunt for the two men, and the main suspect is being sought in relation to other similar incidents, as the victim believes they know who did it. Now for today's oil update. ExxonMobil and its partners continue to explore and drill for oil in Ghana's Stabroek Block, with plans to drill Basho 1 and Lancet Fish 1, as well as the Lancet Fish 2 appraisal well. Pretty soon. The Fangtooth area has been identified as a promising development prospect, with recent discoveries of high-quality oil-bearing sandstone reservoirs. Exploration and appraisal activities are also planned for the southeast portion of the Stabroek Block, including drilling the Bluefin prospect. And in other oil-related news, ExxonMobil shareholders submitted a resolution for a thorough assessment of the potential impact of a spill in Ghana to 12 Caribbean islands, but the board urged shareholders to vote against it, claiming the information was already publicly available, which is totally a lie. The proposal was defeated despite concerns that the islands in the path of a potential oil spill produce more than $140 billion of economic activity annually, largely based on the maritime and tourism sectors, two sectors that would be absolutely wrecked if they were hit by an oil spill. The current $2 billion company guarantee from ExxonMobil provided to Ghana does not consider ensuing liabilities of potential impacts on Caribbean territories.
It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today.
Now for our Uncut News Feels Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it at least was. Last night I asked, should we join the Belt and Road Initiative?
But before we get to that, I'm proud to announce our latest addition to the Noble Army, Richard Singh, who is supporting us at the reporter level, the highest level of monthly support we've received so far. So thank you, Richard Singh. And also a special thank you to David Griffith, Dion Nascimento, Project Zero, and Dimitri V. I appreciate you all. And if you're watching at home and you'd like to support our movement, just hit the link in the video description.
Conrad Thomas says, I think that the Belt and Road Initiative is a great project, but it's a bit too early for Ghana to consider it. Taking part of this initiative will expand our nation's debts in the billions, creating more opportunities for people who are going to be indebted to coming in and rid us of our resources and keep the masses poor. Now, considering the financial and environmental and biodiversity risk of our country, we will have to take. I say it's going to bring Ghana more grief than happiness. Says Ram says, this is like getting the crumbs and giving away the loaves. The Chinese don't do anything for anyone without knowing that they are going to be the main beneficiary. Hopefully the Guyanese people have some resources left by the time the foreigners are done exploiting them. Mr. J. Cornelius says, in his honest opinion and research from previous Belt and Road Initiative from China to other countries, he can safely say that China needs our natural resources, so they will give huge monetary loans or cash grants, cheap technology, and lots more so-called help. Nonetheless, their main goal is to harvest Guyana's gold, timber, bauxite, manganese, oil, and more. The Belt and Road loans must wait. Meanwhile, Davy Samaru says the Belt and Road Initiative is going to bring Ghana a step closer to the modern world, if it is built to standard. I mean, we've seen a lot of good initiatives in this nation, but most of them are built to substandard, clearly to have more monies to squander, even a few years later in the name of repairs. It makes me wonder, when will the politicians have enough, and when we will start seeing projects that are not substandard. I mean, I'm no engineer, but it's clearly substandard when we start seeing holes and cracks after a year or two. A year or two, sometimes it's just a matter of weeks. Just saying. And finally, Guyot says China's Belt and Road Initiative is another hole being dug out from Guyanese to benefit China. No to this Chinese initiative. Now for tonight's question. I want to know, do you support the call for reparations for slavery? Why or why not? And if you do, what should reparations even entail? Should this be cash from the British Crown or the families and corporations that got rich off of it? Or should we forego giving reparations altogether and just let bygones be bygones? I want to know. I want to hear from you. So think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nico Bulford saying good night, folks.